This is the 80s Show on iHeartRadio.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. Say ho, ho. Say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hanging, being part of my radio family. Happy birthday to me. Yep, true story. It's my birthday. If I was a shorty, I should go, or something like that. What do you usually do on your birthday? Is there a particular way that you celebrate? I've never liked making a huge fuss over birthdays. I don't know why. I remember when I was like 12 or 13, my parents had a surprise birthday party for me and invited all these kids, some of whom I knew and were my friends, some of whom I think was a shot in the dark. You're like, are you friends with my son? I'm not sure. Why don't you come over for cake and juice? And then some of them were people that my parents wished were my friends. Like, hey, these seem like they would be a good influence on you. Let's have them over to your birthday party and see if we can't gravitate you in their general direction, because you seem to be going down a path that involves mosh pits and punk rock, and we don't necessarily know how we feel about that. But that was one time anyone really ever threw a birthday for me, and everyone jumped out and said surprise. And you know what? It was actually kind of nice. I enjoyed it. And afterwards, I said to my mom, "That was great. Never do that again." I don't know what it was, but I've never been a big fan of doing a whole lot. I don't know. I find it's nice to do things that, quite frankly, I don't like making a big deal of it. I like to do things that I would like to do, but don't have time to. Like, I don't need to go do something extravagant and big and crazy to make it feel like it's my birthday. I just like to do the things that I don't get a chance to do in a normal, everyday, workaday situation where you are pissing away the 364 other days of your life under fluorescent tubes working for the man. So on a day like today, or the day where you're celebrating the birthday, I like to go, like, I don't know, go out to dinner that I don't have to wolf down at the speed of light and maybe play some video games or something like that. That's my ideal sort of time. But one thing that I notice a lot of people do on their birthdays is they reflect, especially if there's a 0 at the end of the number on the birthday. And people set goals, and people go, this time next year, things will be different. I will be with someone who loves me in a job that satisfies me, making as much money as I feel like I deserve. People tend to do that on birthdays, and people tend to do that on New Year's. And I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion that you should set the game of life up in a winnable situation where you're not necessarily making grandiose predictions for your life a year from now on New Year's or your birthday. I think you should have a series of little goals that make it possible for you to feel like, okay, I'm getting somewhere, as opposed to looking back and going, oh, I didn't do everything I set out to do this year. But as I take stock of what happened over the last year, one of the things that I learned how to do was go on the radio and do this talk radio thing that I've become involved with and you've become involved with, and speak to you as though you're here and you're my friend. And that's probably the greatest gift I've gotten over I don't know how long. I thank you so much for joining me and being part of my radio family on this, an auspicious birthday year for both of us or something. I don't know. You rule. Thank you for hanging out.
If you like what you're hearing, tweet the show at ADSXE. AD on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. This is my United States of whatever. Picture me giving a damn, I said never. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone.
So we started talking about it a little bit yesterday, but if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know that spiritually, religiously, I don't really fall down on any side of the fence. I was actually raised a Buddhist. Yeah, it's true. I was raised a Buddhist. My parents were Buddhists in the 60s when everybody became Buddhist and things like that. And with them, it stuck. And that's how I was raised, in a non-theistic religion. And decided it wasn't really for me. But when you're raised in a faith like that, it's hard to make the jump to anything else because it involves a fundamental stretch of belief in a whole bunch of stuff that you've been brought up not believing. So I guess you could call me spiritually searching, although I'm not searching very hard. I love this new pope because, I paraphrase, of course, but the new pope said a whole bunch of things I really like, one of which was, you don't got to be Catholic to get into heaven, just try not to be a dick. Again, my paraphrase, but that's reassuring because, wouldn't it be a bummer if you were practicing some other sort of faith, being a good person, tithing, doing all the things that one has to do in your chosen religion, and then you find out you go to HE double hockey sticks just because you were practicing the wrong version of worship? Well, that doesn't seem all right. And the Pope came along and said, just don't be a dick, and we can get you into the good place. So that's reassuring. I like that. But while I'm spiritually searching not very hard, I do have tremendous respect for other people's religions, faiths, spirituality, call it what you want. And there's a guy called Andrew WK who hit the nail on the head for me, basically summed up everything that I find to believe and respect and be valuable about this idea of your place in the universe and faith, whether or not you subscribe to any particular religion. And it's kind of surprising to hear him do that because he's the party king. Party till you puke. Let's get a party going, that guy. The one who on his debut album cover for his album, I Get Wet, has a bloody nose because right before he took the picture, he punched himself in the face. Yep. Anyways, we'll discuss Andrew WK's surprisingly spot-on take on religion and spirituality a little later on in the show, and the unbelievably moving letter he wrote to someone that writes into a column that he does for the Village Voice in New York City. Also, ISIL, whatever the hell you want to call them at the moment, recruiting heavily in Minnesota, of all places. Minnesota. Why? I have my theories. We'll get into that, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the Ray Rice situation. Right now, though, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. Super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser. A, how are you? B, what's going on in the world?
Well, first there's big news. It's somebody's birthday. Happy birthday. And legally, that's all I can play.
Right, gotcha.
So happy birthday.
Thank you very much for the legally allowable 7 notes. Is it 7 notes? We're only allowed... there's actually a cutoff point in terms of the number of notes you're allowed to play in a melody before you have to pay somebody for it.
I think it's everything but the last part that goes...
Although I think, you know how restaurants have all those stupid birthday songs like, oh, we hear it's someone's birthday for you, birthday, have a piece of cake, bitches, or whatever the hell it is that at the restaurant that you go to and they sing those songs. They do that because they have their birthday songs because they don't want to have to pay ASCAP the royalties for happy birthday. But after a song's been in existence, I know this stuff because of my time as a professional musician, but after a song's been in existence for a certain amount of time, it becomes public domain. That's why you don't have to pay, like Mozart, a royalty fee when you play his music in a restaurant or something like that. Now, you might have to pay for the recording. You might have to pay some sort of performance royalty to the people that played the Mozart or produced the Mozart or who own that recording of the Mozart. But you don't have to pay publishing money to Mozart because after a certain amount of time, music becomes public domain. And I thought I heard that Happy Birthday had been around long enough to where it's now in the public domain. It's a property of the public, and Chili's and Outback and all these restaurants that have their own version of a birthday song could really just sing Happy Birthday if they wanted to. They've just spent so much time developing their own brand of awful birthday shenanigans that they feel like they got to stick with it now. So I think we
have a couple more years on it. I think we have a couple more years.
Okay.
I just got in trouble this year for playing it. Somebody yelled at me.
Let's err on the side of caution. Little peek behind the broadcasting curtains, which sounds dirty, but it's not. A little peek behind the broadcasting curtains, if you will. Funkhouser and I have to take a test if we wish to work for this company we work for, Clear Channel Premier, whatever branch of the evil empire it is. We have to take a responsible broadcasting initiative test. It's actually called an RBI. And there's some multiple choice questions. There's some multiple choice questions on it. And one of the questions is, which of the following phrases best sums up questionable material you are thinking of airing? You've taken this test, right, Funkhouser?
I think so, yeah.
And it's a multiple choice, and your options are, when in doubt, leave it out, or if it makes you grin, leave it in. And so I guess, when in doubt, we just left it out. Although I'm more apt to leave it in should it make me grin.
I just know you can't ever play the "let's get ready to something." You know what I'm saying? You know that guy that goes, "Let's get..." Yeah, you can't ever, he'll sue you.
Well, he deserves to, if he wants to. I think he licensed all his music to... Remember those Jock Jam CDs that came out in, early 2000s, late 90s? I think he's on all of those. I don't know if we can even say, let's get ready to blank, because he might come after us.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's not. Let's do it on one of your other shows. By the way, I noticed you didn't even tell me. You're like, what's this other show you're working on? I saw on iHeart or Spreaker or something, there's a picture of your smiling face with some broad and you're talking about. I listened to it. I was like, that sneaky Funkhouser. He never told me he was doing this. He's doing his own thing. That's all. And it was really, really good. Why don't you remind me of what it was called and where people can find it and let folks know, because I listened to some of it. I was like, son of a bitch, he never told me. This is really good. Funkhouser does 8 million jobs, like all of us in radio. It's necessary to have 15 different professions so you can eat and pay rent and stuff like that, with selling only a minimum of blood. But so it's impossible for us to keep up with everything that the other one does. But this was really cool. What was it, and where can people find it?
Well, I've been doing it for a few years now. It's called The Dirt, and it's from my old another radio station alum. Us girls would get together and chat about it, and I'm the only dude in it. So yeah, it's it's the Daily Dirt, or I guess it's the Weekly Dirt now, and we do it Fridays at 11 on iHeartRadio.
It's good stuff. I very much enjoyed it. Go listen to Funkhouser on the Weekly Dirt. The Dirt. Or The Dirt. The Dirt.
Search for The Dirt.
Search for The Dirt on iHeartRadio and Spreaker too, I imagine, right?
Yep.
All righty then. Cool. Let's get into it. What is going on in the world?
All right, Ray Rice was cut from the Ravens and suspended indefinitely by the NFL after TMZ Sports released the video of him brutally punching his then-fiancée inside an elevator. Did you see the footage?
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's disturbing stuff. It's really... Yeah, that's not okay. It's just really effed up. Even more effed up that she went on to marry him, too. I was like, really? All right. Anyways, players say the league's harsh penalty really opened their eyes to the importance of noticing the presence of security cameras. In related news, Rice got a Facebook friend request from Chris Brown.
Hey, man.
Not overly impressed. Not overly impressed with the NFL at the moment. All this, and they still don't pay taxes. What else?
Denzel Washington recalls a time when people used to call him the N-word a lot.
During a meeting of NBA owners, one would imagine. Go on.
Kim Kardashian recently cut her hair, 3 inches of it.
Yeah. I didn't really notice, only because I'm not a leg man. Yeah, see what I did there? It's funny because she's incredibly hairy.
I'm an eyebrow guy, so I noticed.
Continue.
CeeLo has been bounced from a few shows because of his recent tweets about rape.
Oh, what did he tweet about rape? It's it's only rape if she's awake while you're doing it, or something like. It was I don't want to put words in CeeLo's mouth, but what he said was equally as reproachable, even if I did get that wrong. It's just, not a good look for CeeLo. Throws a whole lot of things into question. Right now, the only gig that's still on his appearance list is at Ray Rice's Welcome to the Arena Football League party. Continue.
Well, Chick-fil-A founder S. Truett Cathy died yesterday at the age of 93.
Ah, man. Good luck finding someone to arrange flowers for that guy's funeral. His last words, Doogie Howser married a guy?